Welcome to Between the Shelves, the premier Save-A Library podcast. I am your host, Alex, and I am joined this week by my fellow Adult Services librarian, Kristina. Welcome.
Hello.
This week, in honor of its 25th anniversary, we are talking about the iconic, the classic horror film, The Blair Witch Project. And I think we have a lot to talk about. This movie was very influential, I think, for both of us. Mm-hmm. Came out in 1999. Which was a big year for us, a big year for movies. So let's just get into it. I think a lot of what we should be talking about in this episode is like the circumstances surrounding this movie, because I feel like they're of equal importance to the movie itself. So how do you want to get started?
So I sort of have like a mini introduction to the movie, and then I separated into like casting and filming and then marketing.
Perfect. Let's get into it.
Okay. So for anyone who doesn't know, The Blair Witch Project is a found footage horror movie that focuses on 3 missing students who are investigating a local myth for a school project, and that is the Blair Witch. It released July 30th, 1999 with a budget of approximately $35,000, and it grossed over $250 million, making it one of the most successful movies of all time from a financial point of view.
Absolutely. One of the most, probably still to this day, most financially successful indie films ever.
Yeah.
Only trumped that year by the most successful indie film of all time, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yeah. So what kind of makes The Blair Witch so special, right? It is not the first found footage film. There are quite a few that come before it. The credit for the first one usually goes to Cannibal Holocaust from 1980, a movie I have not seen and will never watch.
Same.
And I think the marketing campaign paired with the unique filming conditions are what sets the movie apart and makes it memorable. So I'll talk about sort of the casting and filming and then the marketing.
Let's talk about it.
So I have the casting call here, so I thought I'd read some of it. It starts improvisational feature film. We're holding an open call for the Black Hill Project, non-union with pay, travel, and meals, seeking women and men with natural look, extremely challenging roles to be shot under very difficult conditions.
They spell it all out right there. All of that is true.
Yeah, extremely challenging is in all caps.
Yes.
So the 3 actors that ended up being cast were Ray Vance, who formerly went by Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, and Josh Leonard. So for the movie, there's no script. Almost all of the dialogue is improvised. The actors were only given like their character story beats. Mm-hmm. And they were just dropped off in the woods and were tracked via GPS and sort of guided to the next location where they were given individual instructions, which were often conflicting.
The way the movie was produced, the filmmakers, of which there were 5 or 6, like half a dozen people made this movie, basically. So the director, the writer, and their small production team, which were mostly college interns, they basically hid out in the woods with the actors, but they stayed, a few miles away, setting up the next set piece that the actors would stumble upon. So they basically stayed one step ahead of the actors in the filming schedule and kind of left little landmarks that the actors would find and know that they were on the right trail to the next set piece that they would discover.
Yeah.
And then once they got to that set piece, they would have no script, but they would have notes of like what they should basically be talking about at that point in the story.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you already mentioned this, but all of the actors did the actual filming.
Yes.
So each actor had a camera. I think, was it 2 or 3? I think each one had their own camera.
I believe each one had their own camera.
It's just such an incredible, such a unique filming process.
Yeah, they also weren't told what was going to happen like during the night, so a lot of the reactions are real. A lot of the tension is real because they were just left there, cold and hungry, and
yeah, a lot of the actors reported how freezing cold it was too when they were shooting. And another piece of trivia. The director production team, at some points in the movie, some of the set pieces would happen at the campsite. So what the director would do is they would sneak up in the middle of the night to sort of set up these things. And if they suspected that the actors were like waking up and catching on to them, they would say taco, taco, taco. And that was the symbol to like, we're not trying to scare you right now. We're setting up a thing, so don't come out and see it because you're supposed to be surprised later.
Yeah. And originally, everything that they filmed in this part wasn't even going to be the whole movie. They were just going to sort of intersperse it with like interviews about the people who are missing and the legend of the Blair Witch, which is what ended up happening with the faux documentary they put on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that, I think, once we get like into the promotional side, but the original intention of this movie was to be a sort of mockumentary style movie, right?
Yeah.
It was going to be sort of like something you'd see on like the History Channel or something.
Yeah, or like a true crime kind of documentary.
And I think I read that the total amount of footage the actors shot was like dozens of hours of footage, and they cut it down when they aired the movie, the first screening. I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead of your notes. The first screenings are like 2.5 hours long, and with each screening they cut it back more and more and more, and I think the final cut is like 80 something minutes.
Yeah.
So they whittled down dozens of hours of footage down to 80 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's a brisk pace too. I mean, they could have added a lot more, and I don't think I would have been upset.
Yeah.
Just to let the tension build even more. Maybe it was too much. Maybe they thought it was just like it was just too much for audiences. I don't know. But continue.
So that's actually all I have on the filming.
Okay.
Because I think the marketing is probably like the thing that people remember most about the movie.
Yeah, I have a couple more notes to add then. So they said in the casting call that you were going to get, I think you mentioned that they get like a little stipend or something each day for provisions. So that was like woefully inadequate. They burnt through all of their provisions before they even got into the woods.
Yeah.
And they spent it all on alcohol mostly. So when they got into the woods, they weren't completely roughing it. So the production team would drop off like survival packages for them in the morning, which consisted of an apple, a power bar, and a bottle of water. Mm. And I think they filmed over the course of a week. So by day 3, the actors were already extremely irritated, rightfully so. They were freezing, they were hungry, they were legitimately lost at one point. I think on the first day of filming, they immediately took a wrong direction and missed the first set entirely. And that happened again about midway through shooting. They just completely got lost. Yeah. So a lot of their reactions they're filming are like very legitimate, that they look haggard because they are. They're irritated because they are sick of each other, and they're lost and they're cold. It rained halfway through the production too, which was like a whole thing, and so like it's very authentic, and it absolutely adds to why this movie fooled so many people.
Yes. So then the marketing. So filmmakers sort of created all kinds of supplementary ephemera, I guess, for the movie. I think most notably the missing posters for the 3 fake filmmakers, the 3 missing students, but also the website.
BlairWitch.com.
BlairWitch.com.
No longer active.
But they only took it down, I think, within the last 2 or 3 years, but the website had like a timeline of all the events, archival footage of the missing students.
It had scans of like fake newspapers.
Yeah, evidence of like investigations into their whereabouts. And it all felt like very real. There were like little video clips and stuff. We tried to watch many of them, but they're very small.
On an HD computer monitor, they're about 1 inch by 1 inch. They're so low resolution. It's hilarious. Yeah. They also had scans of Heather's fake journal.
Oh, yes.
A bunch of stuff. It's pretty incredible.
There's also a book that featured all of that they published called The Blair Witch Project, a dossier by D.A. Stern, which had like biographies of the missing students, information about the project. Like this is, I think, for Heather's thesis. So it has like her thesis proposal, her journal, photographs of evidence, newspaper articles, police reports, interviews, more information about the legend of the Blair Witch, just like anything you could think of to make this seem more real. And the reason they did all of this is because they were trying to really play on like confirmation bias. If people went searching, like, is the Blair Witch real? They're going to come across all of this information that shows it's real.
Again, like, I can't stress this point enough. It was 1998, 1999. So there's no social media where there's fact checkers or people, I spotted this actor at this cafe. Like, here's a picture posted on social. There's no social media. There's barely Google.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking, like...
People were searching AOL keywords for this, I think, more than anything.
So there was no premiere for this movie. The actors did not attend any sort of premiere. They did no interviews. They were told to keep a low profile. So all of that fueled this suspicion that, like, these are real people that are missing. And another note here, Ray Vance, who played Heather, she didn't get... None of these actors got another role until she got another role a year after the Blair Witch Project was already released on video. So even a year after the Blair Witch had premiered, these actors were still, like, barely heard of. And their IMDb pages actually said, missing, presumed dead.
Yeah.
So, like, all of this was just fueling this
Yeah, I would
conspiracy.
Also say that in 1999, I don't think people were expecting people to post things that weren't real. Like, who would go through all of the effort to make a website with all this information that's fake? Like, it was harder to make a website than it is now.
Sure.
Like, for most people. There was no Squarespace or anything. You can't just put your blocks in.
Yeah, absolutely. There was no precedent for this.
Yeah.
Nobody. If you're listening to this and you're under the age of, I don't know, 30 or something.
Yeah.
It's so hard to, like, convey the media world at the time. Like, there was no precedent for this sort of, like, foolery. Like, I guess, like, War of the Worlds, like, is, like, the only thing that comes close. But there was just no reason to believe that some movie studio would go through all of this work to trick you.
Yeah, and I think it's become sort of a common occurrence for young people to be like, did people really think that this was real? And someone actually did a study on it in 2004. They got access to some emails about thoughts about the Blair Witch, and whether or not people thought it was real, or if they thought parts of it were real and some of it was fictionalized. So the study done was called Please Help Me. All I Want to Know Is it real or not? How recipients view the reality status of the Blair Witch Project. So the study came out in 2004, but I think that it was worked on before. So they were able to break it down into, like, a couple of, I think, 3 groups of people. Those who knew perfectly well the film is fiction, those who realized that the film is fiction yet appreciate the film's specific status as a hybrid and enjoyed the oscillation between fact and fiction, and a third group of viewers who went in thinking it was real and came out of the movie knowing that it was fiction. So there were many people going into it believing that it was real.
So we were 10 years old when this movie came out. I'm assuming you didn't see it in the theater either.
I did not see it in the theater, but I did watch the faux documentary on the night it released. On
the Sci-Fi Network?
Yeah,
I did too. I rented the movie right when it came out in Blockbuster, so it was a year later. What did you think when you first saw it? Where did you land on that spectrum?
Truly, I had no idea. Because I think all the adults around me were talking about the movie and how it was fake. But then I was like, but who would put in all of this effort for, like, something that's fake?
I think deep down I wanted to believe that it was real because I wanted to be scared. But I probably expressed that I was skeptical. Yeah. But I'm sure deep down I wanted to believe desperately.
There were people who really believe, there were people who went to Burkittsville to look for the filmmakers and went into the woods.
Yeah, it's it's in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
That's where they shot it. Yeah. So should we go through the movie without spoiling anything, just to give listeners who have never experienced it kind of an idea of what it's like? So the movie opens with a series of interviews with ostensibly the citizens of Burkittsville, Maryland, right? By the filmmakers. Mm-hmm. I watched a making of documentary of the movie, and half of the people they're interviewing are either paid actors or relatives of the filmmakers. Like the director's sister, I think, is one of the waitresses. One of his friends from like middle school plays the fisherman that's interviewed like right before they're about to enter the woods. Things like that. And the actors who did the filming were not told who is an actor and who's not. So that was just all setting up, throwing these actors off right from the beginning. It's very interesting. The woman, the creepy kind of woman who's in front of the trailer. Do you remember that scene?
Yes, the one who describes what the Blair Witch looks like.
Yeah, so she's not an actor. She is actually a college intern that signed up to be a part of the production team. And when they were talking to her and interviewing her, they were like, this woman is out of her mind. And they like went back to her house, and that trailer that they're shooting in front of is her actual home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they did no set dressing at all for that set. That's all real. And it fits perfectly with the vibe of the movie. So, all of the, the beginning of the movie does feel like very documentarian, like very cheap college-level documentary style. So Heather's sort of leading it. She's like the narrator, basically, of the documentary. Yeah. All that dialogue she wrote herself. It's all either improvised or she wrote, like, right before. And then after that, the actors they stay in a hotel right before they launch off onto their camping trip. And they're drinking and bonding, and it kind of sets up a nice, like, introduction to the characters. All of the drinking they're doing is real. That's them blowing their stipend. They're all drinking, like, getting pretty loaded. And then they pack up the next day, and they head off into the woods. And there's, like, a really cool, iconic shot of them walking away from the car, which is, like, so perfect. Like, there's so many shots in this movie that it just, like, are gorgeous. Like, and the fact that they had no cinematographer is just so impressive. Because there's so many, like, cool compositions that were either accidental, like, just fortuitously had characters kind of positioned in a very interesting way just by accident, or the actors just had the foresight to be like, we should get a shot of this. Like, there's no director there saying, cut, let's get a shot of this, or let's try it from a new angle. It's just the actors alone in the woods, so it's really, really incredible. So, I don't know. The characters, there's Heather, Mike, and Josh.
Yeah.
I think they have, like, a very cool dynamic that adds to the tension. So Heather's this, like, Captain Ahab sort of character where she's just, like, very headstrong, and she's kind of like the force that's driving them deeper into the forest to, like, get the story no matter what. And Josh is this sort of, like, audience surrogate who's, like, kind of nervous and is questioning everything. And then Mike's this sort of, like, quiet, strong kind of character who you can see starts off, like, as, like, the kind of the foundation of the group, and then he's kind of like the barometer for them losing their minds. Like, as they go get more and more, as crazier things happen, when Mike starts to lose it at the end of the movie, you're like, well, there they go. Like, this is the stabilizing force. This is not going to end well. And then there's I don't know, maybe I shouldn't mention that thing. I don't want to spoil anything.
It's hard to talk about the rest of the movie without spoiling. Yeah, so I don't want to get into too much because it does get into spoiler territory, but I do have one more note here that the iconic shot, it's on the poster of the movie, so I'm not spoiling anything. The shot of Heather, like, looking up at Heather's face where she's, like, got the camera right pressed up, that was another happy accident. She didn't know she accidentally hit the zoom button on the camera, so the fact that it's really zoomed in on her face and is off-center, that was a complete happy accident. But it ended up becoming one of the most iconic shots ever in cinema history, which was parodied till today, and beyond. It's just such an iconic shot. Yeah, I don't want to spoil the ending because it's another very iconic shot. It ends super creepily. I love the ending. I know it's probably pretty controversial for a lot of people, but I think it just ended perfectly. What do you think of the ending? I really enjoyed the ending. I think part of what they were sort of, as they were cutting everything into a film, they were sort of taking cues from, like, other horror movies to keep things mysterious, ambiguous.
I love it. I love, again, I'm really not trying to spoil anything, but the way the movie is shot, only one of the cameras has audio, can record audio. So they do some really cool stuff that you don't really expect or even realize is happening until much, much later in the movie, where you'll be watching scenes from one camera but hearing an audio from another, and it really messes with the audience's, like, it makes you feel very uneasy because you don't even realize it's happening when you're watching the movie for the first time. It's only on, this is like, I don't know how many times I've seen this movie, but I didn't realize it until my last time just recently that that's what's actually happening. And it really does a good job of disorienting the viewer.
Yeah, and if you ever watch Blair Witch, which is the 2016 sequel, there is a sequel in between, but it's awful.
Blair Witch Project 2.
Yeah, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Not worth it. Blair Witch is the story of Heather's younger brother going into the woods to find her. And it takes place, I think, the same amount of time in between. Like, he was a child then, he's an adult now. And it takes the iconic ending scene and, like, expands it in a really cool way.
I haven't seen the remake, or the sequel rather, Blair Witch, but I heard that they added something to the end that kind of ruins it. And I don't want to say what it is because it will spoil the original.
Yeah. It's not a perfect movie, but it is...
It's faithful to the feel of the first movie, yeah.
Yeah, and they just announced a reboot this year.
Interesting.
By Blumhouse, so...
I was going to save that for the end of the episode, but I may as well ask it now. Could this movie be made today?
It's a weird question, I think, because I think every modern found footage film, of which there are many, hundreds of...
You can attest to that.
Yes. Can trace their roots back to this movie. So I think in 2007, when Paranormal Activity came out, I think it had a similar vibe where people were like, is this real? Is this not? I think that was probably the end of the time where people could really, especially with like true crime documentaries flourishing, Unsolved Mysteries is back. Like, there's people, I think, are a lot more cynical about things too. Most people don't just automatically assume things are real. Not to use this phrase, but a lot of people do their own research now. Like, when you're, with Google, you're not just going to go on the first result you find. You try to sometimes dig a little deeper. Yeah. So I think the is it real or not kind of vibe to it, that could never happen again.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. And I'm thinking, like, how would you even try to replicate the feeling? Like, it would have to start in a very niche corner of the internet, and it would have to incorporate somehow the fans taking it upon themselves to build on the lore, I think. Because I don't think it could come from a studio directly. It would look too produced somehow, or it would be exposed that this is what they're trying to do. Like, it would have to start on, like, 4chan or something.
Yeah.
And it would have to, like, grow naturally. Like, take on a life of its own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it couldn't be, like, from a production team or an art team, like, making content and putting it out. Like,
no.
I don't know how it could happen.
Yeah. Well, now we know not to trust everything we see on the internet.
Yeah. And especially now in, like, the age of, like, AI. Like, everyone's is so skeptical, or they should be skeptical of everything they see. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure the movie they make will be scary. I'm sure it'll be fine. But it won't have the same impact. It won't have the same...
No. And there are still good, like, found footage movies coming out. They're just taking on, different types of footage, I guess.
Yeah. The director of this movie, or one of the two directors, said in an interview that he doesn't think that you could do the same sort of found footage horror movie that they made nowadays because of everything we just mentioned.
Yeah.
But he said the thing that's great about found footage horror is it's so personal and so unique that anybody who makes one inherently will make a very unique movie because it's shot from like literally a first person's perspective. Yeah. And it's such an unexplored genre, even though it's been out since, like you said, the 80s. There's still so much that can be done with it because technology's changing and everything, that there's still a lot of unexplored things that can be done in found footage.
Yeah.
It's just, they just can't replicate this particular one.
Yeah, I watched a recent one called Spree with Joe Keery, where he is like an Uber driver on a murder spree, and he's live streaming it. So like that's like a newer take.
I know there was a horror movie that came out during the pandemic that was all through Zoom.
Yes, Host.
Yeah. I haven't seen that one.
Very
but
good.
Yeah. Did we want to talk about the Curse of the Blair Witch?
Yeah, a little bit. We can talk about,
So alongside the website and the promotional materials and all of that good stuff, there was also a lead-up documentary that sort of set the table for the Blair Witch Project called The Curse of the Blair Witch that aired on, I think, the Sci-Fi Network and maybe some other networks, I'm not sure, but definitely the Sci-Fi Network. That's how I saw it. Which is, if you want to watch this documentary, it's included on the Blair Witch Project DVD.
It's also available free on Tubi.
Okay, I'll link it to there as well. So The Curse of the Blair Witch was a short TV special. It's about 40 minutes long. It's basically is the movie that they originally set out to make. It's a mockumentary. It splices together footage from the film with fake interviews with the an actor who says he's Heather's acting coach or something, or a professor. Yeah, that's right. He's the professor that taught their class that sent them out into the woods. Some of their family members, a local historian, stuff like that. Yeah. It also has footage of news reports that were fake news reports, obviously, that were reporting on...
Sort of the movie version of the dossier.
Right. What else? Oh, and there's also like a history section of the documentary about the Blair Witch herself.
Yes, which if you are interested in, there is... The Maryland Historical Society does have like a Blair Witch page that I think that they posted in conjunction with the 2016 Blair Witch. So it has a little bit of the history of the Blair Witch. I think was there like there's like a weird book that they have, right? Like
in the documentary they talk about a book. Yeah.
They have like photos of the book and stuff like that. So if that's something that interests you too, that's out there.
Yeah, it's really well done. It almost seems like the budget, I didn't get this information, but it seemed like the budget of this promo documentary was bigger than the budget of the actual movie.
Yeah, I mean, the marketing budget had to be.
Must have been.
Yeah, it definitely, if you have ever watched like a true crime documentary, this has the exact same feel to it. Like, it has interviews with their family, like...
Ken Burns effect of like panning over photographs and newspaper articles and stuff. Yeah, it feels like very well done. Yeah, so this came out in the lead up, so this was all just building the hype around this, the mystery around Blair Witch. And should we talk about another special project that spawned from Blair Witch?
So I think it's important to talk about because I think it demonstrates sort of the way this permeated culture at the time.
Please, take the reins.
Okay, so I believe in 1999, Cartoon Network aired a bunch of bumpers. That was a Scooby-Doo parody of the Blair Witch Project. I think it's called the Scooby Project.
I think it's called the Scooby-Doo Project.
The Scooby-Doo Project. And it's almost...
It's a satirical take on Blair Witch.
But it's so perfect. They really, nailed it. I think it was only shown once because it was scary for children. But, the iconic, stick figures from the Blair Witch... They parodied those to look like a dog. Mm-hmm. They had everyone from Mystery Inc. fighting. They reproduced the lap scene. It's really just like a perfect sort of parody of this. And it was kind of scary.
I watched it last night, and it is pretty spooky.
Yeah.
It gets you. It definitely nails the vibe of Blair Witch, like, for sure.
And it tries to really bring it back to, like, the Scooby-Doo version of it, but then it still goes back to, like, or is it? Like, it's just...
as I said, I rewatched it last night, and it is perfect. It's all actual footage, like camcorder footage, but they splice in the Scooby-Doo characters over it.
Yeah.
Like, so kind of like
Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Exactly. It hits all of the beats of the Blair Witch Project, but it's just a more condensed version of it. And it's so self-referential to Scooby-Doo as a franchise that even the characters, like, break the fourth wall, and they're like, we really should have caught the monster by now, right? Like, usually this is over in 20 minutes, and they're, like, questioning, like, why they've been out in the woods for 7 days, like, and they're, like, lost and everything. It's just so, like...
When they sacrificed Scrappy-Doo, it was beautiful.
I forgot about that. It's so good. It's just so good.
It was lost for many years. I think people have pieced it together from, like, VHS copies. Yeah. Like, it was only...
I watched the supercut of it, which is available on YouTube. I'll post a link to that, and it includes all the bumps too, which is nice. So it has like commercial breaks where there would have been commercial breaks with the bumps, and the bumps are terrifying.
Yes.
Like, this aired on Cartoon Network, and the bumps are like horrifying. Like, they'll just show like a creepy house in black and white and grainy footage, and just hold on it playing creepy music, and then it's just like boom, like Cartoon Network.
Yeah,
it's terrifying. So I have a couple of production notes on this really quick. So this released for Halloween, because they do a Scooby-Doo marathon on Cartoon Network, of course. The Blair Witch Project came out in August. So they made this whole thing in like approximately 2 months, right?
Yeah.
It's so well done, and it won an Annie Award for exemplary animation for a special project that year. So it's so... I just can't tell you how well done it is. And then, so they actually have like the real life mystery machine, like an actual van, like it's not a cartoon, in the footage. And the way they were able to get that and do everything in 2 months is, I guess the mystery van like does promotion for Cartoon Network, like it travels North America, and it just happened to be in Canada, like whatever, like at the time they wanted to do this. So 2 of the creative team flew out to wherever it was in Canada and in 1 day captured all of the footage with the mystery van, like recreating the iconic shot of like the car being left on the side of the road and then walking away. It's just so well done. And like it's all done with the original voice actors, or whoever the current voice actors were, I guess, of Scooby-Doo, who I guess were filming Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island at the time. So they all recorded it in LA remotely, like on set for that movie, and then probably had no idea what they were actually doing. But it's just so good. Like, it's so funny.
It's really good.
Is there anything we're missing about the Blair Witch Project? So I have one piece of trivia we can end on. So this movie, as you said earlier, was made for $35,000. Do you know what the most expensive part of that budget was?
No.
It was getting the license for the Gilligan's Island theme song that one of the characters sings in an improvised scene that made it into the final film. That was the most expensive part of this movie.
Problem with rights. You could never sing a song someone else owns.
So, I mean, this movie's just... If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. It's so worth it. It's just such an iconic, legendary movie. I love it. 1999 is the best year for movies, maybe ever.
Yeah, I think so too. That's how my notes end. Begs the question, was 1999 the most important year in cinema history? And I think it might be.
In large part because of the Scooby-Doo Project.
I think it might also be that everyone who is 10, whenever you're 10, that's probably the best year.
We're definitely not
cinema.
Biased. So... yeah, I don't think there's anything much more to be said without spoiling the movie.
No.
Go do yourself a favor and watch this. Just spook yourself this Halloween season.
If not with the Blair Witch, with the Scooby-Doo Project.
Yes. Okay, I think that's all we have for this episode. Kristina, thank you for coming and sharing your love of the Blair Witch. And maybe we'll do a follow-up episode when they reboot it. We'll compare and contrast.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, and happy Halloween, everyone.